Hi everybody, yeah, I am Justin, and yes, I have done lots of different things in my career, but I'm basically a big nerd, so I love all this stuff. So I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about Lightship 3. So we have done a lot of work to update our toolkit, and this is the latest Unity-based offering that we have. So as we mentioned, we have web tools, we have Unity tools, we've got you covered no matter what you're doing in AR, but today I'm going to talk mostly about our Unity toolkit. So let's start off with what is the ARDK. So our SDK for AR, we call ARDK. So that's whenever we say that, that's what we mean. Lightship has both AR tools and mapping tools in it. The AR part is the ARDK. It is a software development kit. It enables very complex AR, so it adds extra things that you didn't have before, and it extends and improves bits that are already provided by Apple and Google. So let's talk about what is new in ARDK 3. I should start off by saying, who here has used the ARDK before or Lightship at all? And what about 8th Wall? People here use that as well? So few people, not a lot of you. So I'll take my time talking through features. Yeah.
A quick question, if I may. Yeah. Are these slides going to be online?
Yes. Yeah. The whole thing is being recorded as well, so you'll be able to show. Yeah. All right. So for ARDK 3, we have decided to make it more compatible with Unity's AR Foundation. In ARDK 2, it was a standalone package, which meant some things you couldn't use alongside with it. You had to make a choice of, do I want to use only Niantic's tools or only Unity's tools? And this time around, we said it's not a good idea. Let's just make it work. So we spent a bunch of time refactoring in the last few months, or several months, to make this work so that you can just turn things on and it'll work seamlessly. To the level at which you can even open an existing AR Foundation project, just turn on Lightship, and you'll see all the lovely extra tools that we have just start working, which is very, very nice. So a few other things that we get out of doing this is we've improved the rendering. We've been able to remove some of our custom code, rely more on some optimized code from Unity and vice versa, improve some of the things that they do with our code. We use less memory. We've improved some of the workflows for some of these features that I'll go into later, like our VPS system. We've made it easier to use. We've improved our multiplayer co-localization shared systems. And we're starting to get headsets running through the system as well. So not only will you be able to use phones, you'll be able to use Snapdragon headsets with this in the future. Right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the features and the sort of pillars of Lightship in general. So when we talk about what we offer, we have contextual awareness, which is about understanding what's around you and how you interact with the world itself. We have, obviously, multiplayer, which we also call shared AR, because you're sharing the AR session with each other. We have the virtual positioning system, which is our geospatial API that allows you to place content anywhere in the world. And we have our Maps SDK, which allows you to make map-based games all together. And all of these tools work seamlessly, integrate into one app that you can build on. So now I'll drill into each of these sections. So contextual awareness, when we talk about that, we're talking about depth, meshing, occlusions, semantics, and navigation. So Gameboard is our navigation system. So let's start with depth, occlusion, and meshing. So these are really the core things you need to do AR well. So if you want to place something in the world, you need to be able to touch the world. So that all starts with producing really accurate depth. And something that Niantic has been working on for a long time is getting really accurate outdoor depth. So long distance, being able to be out in a park and have things work. So once you have that, you can then say, oh, I can do many things with that. I can use it to occlude, so make things go behind things. And I can also make a mesh, which is what you need for physics interactions to touch things. And because we have these tools, we're able to do stuff that a lot of people will never have seen before. And at the end of the talk, I'll show you a video of what we've got coming for long distance meshing, where we can instantly mesh 40 meters in front of you, not just the 5 meters you get out of LiDAR, which is going to be extremely useful for people that do this stuff. Which is why I've got long-range meshing down here. But you can see in the videos here, Peridot, if you haven't played it, you should grab it and play it. That's one of our games that has a cute creature that runs around and makes extensive use of these features. And you can do things like world alteration, you're seeing there, where we just retexture the world as though it's in another place. Right, semantic segmentation. The next thing you need to know is what is it that's in the world? Not just, can I touch it? But what is that? Is that the ground? Is that a wall? Is it a person? So we uniquely give you 20 different semantic classes. Most other tools don't. They just give you person. So very useful to be able to find where the people are, but we also want to know where the chair is, because we want our creature to jump up on the chair and do a cute thing. Or in the case of Peridot, it'll sit in front of a TV and look at it, which is what a little creature normally does. So you can start to make your creature feel like it's in the real world. Like another thing here in Peridot, you can forage for things. So when you touch the screen and say, dig here, it actually knows it's digging in flowers and it'll give you a flower, or it knows it's digging in the dirt, so it'll scratch the dirt. Or water, you could change your animation to swim through water. So there's many, many things you can do with semantic segmentation. And here's a very long list that I won't read out of all the channels, but there are many things that you can do. Next, we have Gameboard, which is for navigation. So when you move a digital creature around, you don't want it to really just take a straight line. You kind of want it to walk around people and jump up on desks. And if you've used any game engine before, they all have navigation mesh. But in AR, it's a problem because the world is dynamic and keeps changing. You can't pre-bake everything, like this whole chunk of the earth, and say have a nav mesh for it. So our system's dynamic. So the more you move around, the more it builds out this mesh. And so you can see the sort of debug mode over here with our little Dodie jumping up on my couch, and you can see a proper version of it here with the Peridot, and it's nicely walking around a corner, not sort of cutting through it or jumping over it. So very useful toolkit. Now, the next thing we have is a bunch of debugging tools. So Playback is extremely powerful. Everything that you've seen runs directly in the Unity editor. So you can go out, record where you want to test, and then loop it forever until you get your game working. So you can see here the Dodies are playing like a little dodgeball game and just running around directly in Unity. And this means that you can do a huge amount of QA, a huge amount of iteration with your developers without having to always build it to the device and always walk around with it, or even do the remote thing of hold it up in your hand. You save hours with this toolkit. You can make several different recordings. You can, I want to see how it works at the beach. I want to see how it works in a forest. I want to see how it works in my room. And you can just switch those out and keep iterating and get your game to run. So I love this feature. It's one of my favorite ones. I always sing its praises. And I believe we're the only people that have this. And it's in there and you can use it immediately. So let's move on from contextual awareness and let's talk about mapping. So we provide both a 2D mapping solution and a 3D mapping solution. So let's dig into first Lightship Maps SDK. So when you pull this down, you're able to make something that you've probably all seen in our games before. We provide you that tool set. So you are able to customize it. You can make it, skin it for however you'd like it to look. It's been optimized. It works directly in Unity. It's very easy to do things like a full screen map or even a mini map like in an RPG in the corner to tell you where to go. So you can say, hey, there's a cool thing over here. Send your user that way. They'll play it. A nice event will happen there. Then the next thing that's really nice about this is we also have the 3D map, the visual positioning system, which says, at a specific location, I'd really like to make a complex AR experience. So you could imagine in this building, you wanted to have something fancy happen. Maybe there's a concert playing here. And if you come here, you can immediately see all of the things that have been laid out. And this tool set allows you to take a scan of this building and really accurately align it to where it should be. So when a user turns up, they've been directed from the map to come here because something cool is here. We instantly place this whole environment in the right place, perfectly aligned with whatever it was that you wanted to happen there. So you not only have the procedural tools we showed you before, you also have these ones where you can make a very detailed set piece that is centimeter accurate. So the thing about this that's really nice is that chair will be where that chair is. So if you needed to put something on it, it's going to be on it. It's very, very cool. We also have a bunch of tools to help you do that authoring. So we call this the geospatial browser. And essentially, you can go to the web, find the location that you want to work out, pull down the mesh for it, drop it straight into Unity, mark it up with whatever content you want on that, save it, publish it, and it's there. So you can see straight away, went to a location, put a cube on it. If you go to that location in the world with your app, the cube is where you put it. It's very, very cool stuff. So that's where we get into content persistence, which is going to be a big theme as we move more and more into this space. Being able to save content, users leaving things for other people to see, all of those sort of great workflows. Right, next thing is multiplayer, shared AR. So this is probably one of the coolest features. And you'll find Ria later, who is the PM, she's over there, if you want to talk about it a lot. This is basically us saying, hey, do you want to, play the videos, don't go to the next thing. Go back. Sorry, technical difficulties. Let's just press play on these. So we provide you with the ability to instantly co-localize at any of those VPS locations, which basically means you don't need a lobby. If we turned this building into a VPS point, if you pulled your phone up and I pull my phone up, we're now in a multiplayer game, and that's it. And that is amazing. Like, it's like magic the first time you see someone do it. And you can see some examples here with our team showing you that each phone is tracked in this session, you know, where everybody is. And then here you can see a game made by Hot Dark Matter where they're doing laser tag. And all of these things are leveraging that tool. You can also localize with the QR code. So if you don't have a VPS point, you can use an image target. And we're working on ad hoc stuff in the future so that you can run it anywhere you'd like. It's very cool. Now here's the video I was going to allude to before. So what are we doing in the future? This is long distance meshing. It's a whole street. And this is procedurally instant, and we're decorating it with stuff. No one else can do this. LiDAR, which is industry standard, is 5 meters. This is like 40. And this is coming soon. So in 3, you can do part of this now. We have a bunch of optimizations that we need to ship, which will probably be in 3.1, but this is a very cool feature. So other things that are going to come along is we're making the VPS better, so less drift, make it clearer. We're going to make our shared system work in more regions. And obviously, we're going to provide better samples and more documentation as we move on through 3.0's lifecycle. But yeah, I can't sing the praises of features like this enough. And I'll let this video play out because it's very, very cool.
Are you going out and capturing this?
This is just live. You go like this in the thing. It's an app. There's no, yeah. This is live running on your phone with nothing, no connection to anything. It's not a geospatial thing. This is just procedural.
What kind of hardware is that?
That's an iPhone. Yeah, or an Android. Just any phone that can run ARK or ARKit can do that.
You're not depending on stereo or?
Nope. No, so that's our depth. Our depth uses a single camera. You can even go and look at our many depth papers that our research team have published to explain how we do the magic that we do. But all of this comes from the magic of our depth stuff and all the other tools we've built on top of it and all the neural network magic that very smart people who are much smarter than me have done. But yeah, it's a very cool video made by one of our teams in New Zealand to demonstrate this stuff. Now here's another sample. So this is more shared AR. Let's do some. This one has audio. I can't get audio to go. Sorry for that. But one of the samples that we'll probably drop in the next 2 weeks is showing you how to combine all of these things together. We talked about how do you have a map, the VPS, shared AR, and a game that runs. So we'll give you a full sample on how to glue all these things together so you're not sort of like, how do I put all the pieces together? And it's a fun little game where you plant a garden and you can all interact with it and it persists the data between the players. So it's very neat and that will land very soon. So that's the end of my very quick run through of what our features are. We've got a lot of other places you can go to find documentation about it. So if you want to grab photos or whatever that you can, and then it's easy to find if you just search for Lightship and Niantic, you'll get to it on the web. It's not difficult. A few other announcements. I will take questions at the end, just wanted to get through things. So a few things that are coming up for us. So we have this playcrafting thing that you can sign up to. So to help make samples and cool things in the space, we've got an initiative where anyone who wants to can apply to work with us to make cool samples in our toolkit. And there's a little bit of cash behind it. It's not huge, but it's a thing that you can sign up to if you are interested in. And then we will be at Immerse in October to do more presentations for the official launch of 3, which will be out in a month. It's available now to play with as beta, so you can actually go to the website and use it. There's nothing stopping you from getting it. So we're now at the Q&A portion. So thank you for listening to me, and I'm happy to take any questions. What's that? Oh yes, sorry. And I should also introduce Jacob if he's here. Come on out. So Jacob is working on a tool called Loke, and he's been working with us for quite a while. So he's very, very versed in ARDK and what it can do. So the visual positioning system. So when you think about the easiest way for me to define this is when you play a game like Pigo, we direct you to locations like gyms and stuff. We have lots of places that have been scanned around the world that you can go to that are activated by the VPS. And when you get there, we're able to give you a very accurate mesh of that place. So there was a video earlier where I showed a toolkit where you can go actually to a web browser and you can browse the whole Earth to see where we have good coverage. And you can select a place and say, what's there? It'll give you the mesh of that location, and you can author content on it. You can place it there. But shared can leverage that to say it knows where you are. So when you point your phone at one of these locations, it really accurately knows you're 5 meters from that chair. And then someone else points it at the chair and goes, they're 2 meters from the chair in this direction, which means we can use that to put you in the same multiplayer session, so all the transforms line up. So it is just like magic. You sort of point your phone at something and then everybody drops in. Yeah. And we have some experts in the building which will make them, at the end of this I'll get Niantic to put their hands up so you can know who to go and ask lots of deep questions on. Cool.
Yeah, can you, discover points of interest, or you could reset like a number of points of interest as an import or something?
Yeah. So in the geospatial browser, you can see everywhere that we have activated locations, and you can put content at any of them, if that's what you're asking. Yeah.
You can also use we have a UPS coverage map.
Yes.
Have that on your, say, okay, we control this place where it's
Yeah. So the thing you couldn't all hear that Jimmy just said is there's also.
Repeat the question.
Yeah. So the question was, given a VPS location, how can I author content there? And my answer was that we have physical tools where you can download things and make it. And Jimmy up the back had also pointed out that you can do this programmatically because we have a coverage API that you can just call from your app to say, where are the locations that are near me? And it just tells you where they are. It gives you a GPS coordinate, so you can say, go here. And you can tie that back to our maps, which is like you can draw the dot on the map and tell the person to go there, which is all like a nice, neat loop.
Thanks, it's great. So I'm with a VR studio, and there's a use case where we would like to use this technology for in headset.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us about headset roadmap?
Yeah. So the question was about what does our headset roadmap look like? So at the moment, we are working with Qualcomm Snapdragon Spaces. So the first thing we're trying to get running is make it work for those devices. The reason behind that is they're one of the providers that is giving us access through partnership to the device's cameras and all the things we need to make this stuff work. So we are working on having a beta of that in the coming months that we have a small set of people will work on, and then once we've proved that out, then into next year we'll have more details on that.
Any device you can mention?
In any of the Snapdragon spaces. So we're working on A3 devices at the moment.
A3.
Yeah. Okay, go.
If I make my own space and bring it to your PPS, does it have to be a public space? Can it be a private space?
So we are working on bringing private space online. At the moment, our map is public, but this is an active work stream, and there are other people here that will be able to talk to that more than me.
And conference room, broad market.
Yeah, so it's a fairly common request that like I have a very private place and I don't want it outside. So
Scan today, but that's only one scan. We're not going to be able to build a full map from it, but you'll at least have that.
Yes,
And
yeah,
if I can
yeah.
access it, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sweet. Thank you.
Okay, up the back.
What's the most popular ARDK feature? And do you find that most apps only use one feature or use several?
Yeah. So the most common use is the contextual awareness parts. You kind of need depth and meshing to start an AR thing, right? You need to place something in the world. But then we sort of see a selection of all of the other bits used depending on what the kind of game they're trying to build is.
Yeah, I can comment on that a little bit. So Loke is a platform for just a wide collection of augmented reality games that are built on Lightship. And we're seeing almost half of our users go towards those shared AR experiences. So we're really excited about like how shared AR is just going to keep promoting these different type of gameplays in different environments. But shared AR is really successful for us.
Yeah. And in general, you'll find it's a lot more fun. So like the quote, which is I stole from Maria for that slide, which is games are more fun when you play together.
It really is quite like magic. I remember the first time, I'm sure many of you have done shared AR experiences, but being able to game that same environment with those objects in your same physical space in the same place, it makes the whole thing feel like it's actually real.
Okay.
Thank you. Great presentation, Nicole Zara, follower Rabbit. And the question I've got is that for the shared, the group play, we're doing a mystery adventure. You play in the real world, like in real
Oh, yeah, you totally can. Literally today I'll advertise someone else's product, which is Hot Dark Matter, which you can put on your phone today. It's using shared AR, and you could put stuff everywhere around a VPS point. And that laser tag game, literally you could build walls to block the other person shooting at you.
Right, right. And then you can do that in VPS locations, but also just in a living room?
So at the moment, the offering is you either need to use the VPS or an image target. Like I said, you would set it up to be like a photo on the wall in your room. But it is being worked on to expand it past that. And this is the person to talk to after. Right there.
Well, just calibrates everything.
Yeah, it's basically saying you need a shared point of reference. And we are working on making that work in general without the image target.
And the image target, though, is then attached to the mesh.
It's just saying to start. So when you think about a multiplayer session, you just have a transform to say, where am I relative to you? And to start it off, because we're both on two different devices, unlike in a game where it's a shared state, like a normal networked game, there is only one space and everyone's in it. Each phone has its own. So you need a way to say, relative to the other person, where are you? But if you both know where that is, you can do a multiply through all of the transforms for all of the positions, and then everybody's in the right space. Cool.
Sort of a blue sky, off the wall kind of question, but your neighbors a couple blocks away at Amazon just did a big conference on generative AI, and they're talking about the use of it for tutoring and education, and you've got obvious applications in that area. Are you in any way, I'm not even sure how to frame this question, but are you in any way integrating generative AI?
So in this place, it's probably best to talk to Tom, who's way up the back there, about some of Eighth Wall, because we have actually put some generative stuff in our web. Tom, can you wave your hand just so people can see? But so yes, Eighth Wall has just actually launched some generative stuff in the web platform, and it is something we're interested in. It's not offered in Lightship at the moment. Our focus is on getting you to play games in the real world, leverage the multiplayer system. That's where our focus has been so far.
Your work's incredible. Thank you.
Platforms support Unity. Do you support Swift?
So you have to use Unity to be able to build with Lightship. It's essentially a plugin that integrates and overrides a bunch of features within Unity. Whereas if you are working in the web, again, Tom at the back, we have our whole ecosystem for web development in Eighth Wall.
Any future support programs?
Not at the moment. If there is enough interest in anything, that's how these things work, right? So it comes down to, is there enough people asking us to do a thing?
So the technology is incredible. Definitely we're using it. So I want to ask a question that you may not be able to answer. How are you guys reacting to the announcement from Unity made this week?
So that one, I am going to sidestep and say, look, like everybody, we are ingesting that information to work out what to do. But we have our head of comms right behind you, Greg. If you want to ask official questions, and we've got our dev role over here, Dan. I'm just going to step over here and talk about the cool tools that we're working on.
Some people have been out on the playa and might have missed that. What is he talking about?
You can Google Unity yourself. Up the back. Sorry? At the moment, there is no cost. It's completely free to use. In terms of what we will be doing in the future, there will be some charge eventually. But for right now, we are letting people use this stuff, get used to it, and we want to see what you all can make with it.
Kind of like Unity.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to get us off topic on this topic, but I would love to know more about Loke and how you guys get partners on the platform or on your app.
Yeah.
And that whole ecosystem and how it works.
Sure, I'll just stand close.
Yes.
You can get
It's a bit
on.
awkward again. I have the microphone. There we go.
So, we started off by running a game jam with the Lightship team. Basically, we built a template and had some developers contribute to it. And then basically, these developers submitted their games, like many other game jams that have happened at Lightship. And then we ingest those games and publish them onto Loke. So what we're trying to do is empower developers who may not want to build out full entire games right away, or just want to like experiment with Lightship, make something cool that they want to put out in the world, but don't want to publish entire applications right off the bat. They can, work with us to publish it onto Loke and get access to, hundreds of thousands of people that are on the Loke application, using these AR experiences. So we're really trying to be that gateway for people to not only get into Lightship and have a place to publish it easily, but also for people looking to explore AR and what different experiences may be offered through augmented reality, whether it's gaming or other type of experiences. Loco hopes to empower all that all together in one platform. So yeah.
Another question for you, why Lightship? There's some other AR platforms out there, but why?
It was honestly, so Lightship is really easy to use for us. We were building our own projects on it beforehand. And we saw the developer community, the resources that are out there, and we're like, you know, we want to invest our resources in this community because it's really active. They're building really cool things. And so, you know, we took the leap with Lightship, and it's worked out really well for us. Yeah.
You've actually got a fair number of users and sessions. I'm just curious what you think you've learned about all this AR stuff in the early going.
Yeah, it's really important to make sure the experiences that you're building in AR are really, they make sure that they make sense to be in augmented reality. That's one big thing, is like, why is it in AR? But also making sure that the people using the augmented reality have good social experiences. Again, I mentioned that multiplayer augmented reality is huge for our application and for our users. People want to go in, they want to be with their friend who's next to them and game like they have never gamed before in this shared environment together, right? And so we've been learning that these social elements of augmented reality pair really well together. And we're just really excited to keep moving that forward and seeing where that takes us.
Is it possible to have hybrid experiences? And by hybrid, I mean have an experience that's, for example, in VR or something like it, maybe a desktop environment, that, like, you had some stuff that was, that looked like photogrammetry with your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it possible to take that, maybe take some elements from it, or the photogrammetry itself, and then have someone to be spoofed to be within that space and act as
Yes,
virtual?
yeah. So those kind of things can be built out with our multiplayer tools. Yeah, if you wanted to say, hey, there's a person who's got a virtual version of that meshed environment and knowing where they are relative to it, yes, we can do that. In terms of those tools, those scanning tools, we also have a product called Scannerverse. If you ever just wanted to scan a mesh, you can just download and use it and scan all sorts of places. It's a great tool. But yes, you will have to do some scripting, but you can do what you're asking. Yeah. You and the first one.
Are there any non-gaming / enterprise use cases that you've seen?
So a lot of the kind of chats we have in this space, there's a lot of sort of, when you think about what you can do with this type of technology, there's a lot of education and training type sectors that just make sense. If you have a very accurate model of this building and you want to teach someone where parts of it are, you can easily mark it up and have direct people through it. So there's a lot of those sort of spaces where it really makes sense. But we're more than happy to talk to anyone who wants to talk to us about any use of the tool set. And part of tonight is finding out the kind of things that you are all trying to build and how we can help you with that.
And to comment on that, on the Logue platform, there's been developers who've submitted things that are not game related. There's people who've created like experiences that are meant to be used at music festivals. So that could be really interesting in an enterprise way where you sell that to, any type of music performer or et cetera, sponsors, anything.
Yeah, anything tied to a location that is an event is extremely easy to do with the VBS technology. Okay.
Another question on crossplay. So mobile phone and like headset, are we going to be able to do cross session?
Once we get to the point where you can use a headset, it should be possible to do it, yes.
Okay, then Qualcomm's coming first. Is there
we have been working with Qualcomm directly, and the reason, basically we have a partnership with them to get it working on their devices, and they have been very open in giving us access to the things we need to be able to make it work.
So then the other question is, how about the Vision Pro?
Yeah, so in terms of other headsets, it comes down to us having access to the parts of that we need. So if Apple comes along and says, hey, we've opened our walled garden, then we will be able to do more work in that space. There is some work again in A12 where you can do some WebXR on various headsets, but not for our Unity offering yet. Hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future it becomes possible. But again, if you wanted to do something like that now, we've seen some projects on 8th Wall, like one called Wall, which is talking about a lovely little L through the wall. And yeah, so again, I'm sure Tom will be happy to chat to you about those things.
Yeah, so I've got polyspatial beta right now for Unity, but it's not available for that.
You briefly talked about remote authoring.
Yep.
And then the example you gave was you downloaded Mesh, you implemented it, and then you saved and built it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way for us to like take the content that you saved and like put it in a database instead of building it in the app and then publishing the app?
So yes, but there's bits that you're going to have to build in that, and there are also things that we're working on. Again, Ria is the person to chat to
So you guys
after this.
just update the beta 4. Is that like live for us to use now? Or?
Yeah, you can play with Beta 4 right now. Yep. Oh, sorry.
Just do
One more. So last question. All right.
talking about headsets, Magic
So there was a question, headsets, do we work on Magic Leap? Not yet. It's similar to, as we said, we're going to work on Snapdragon Spaces first. Once we get that running, we can look to what are the next things that we can light up. And again, it comes down to how much interest in getting that platform up and running there is from the community.